It's looking like Jaron Boots Ennis just dodged a bullet. We already know that Jaron Boots Ennis wanted to fight Brian Norman Jr. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But as we all know, guys from Philly are definitely scared to leave Philly.
Sunday it is!
Brian Norman Sr. stopped by the channel earlier to basically explain that Eddie Hearn ain't nothing but a snake. Eddie Hearn tried to lowball the man just so Boots Ennis don't gotta fight the man. Boots Ennis saw my interview and he put the yawn emoji up on Twitter. Hey yo, Boots Ennis, bro. Everybody know that you scared to leave Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It makes a whole lot of sense. It's a lot of clowns out of Philly who don't want to leave Philly.
Sunday it is!
It's a whole lot of Boots Ennis fanboys that love watching South Park TV. Let me tell y'all like this. I'm not here to be liked by y'all. I don't care what y'all think about my boxing takes. I think that Brian Norman Jr. will give Jaron Boots Ennis his toughest fight.
I stay.
Speaking of tough fights, Brian Norman Sr. told everybody to check out Boots Ennis vs. Damian Fernandez. A fight that Boots Ennis was in trouble in early on, that's right. Jaron Boots Ennis was in big trouble getting landed on by a fighter named Damian Fernandez. Brian Norman Jr. fought Damian Fernandez and got rid of the man in about 65 seconds.
That's right.
A man that gave Boots Ennis problems, Brian Norman Jr. destroyed in less than one round. Let that sink in.
Brian Norman's the best welterweight in the world, yeah! If you're using Jaron Ennis' name, if you truly believe you can beat Jaron Ennis, Brian Norman fights Jaron Ennis and wins. He's a superstar of the sport.
That was Eddie Hearn having on his promoter head. He's supposed to talk like that about his fighter. Speaking of that, Michael Benson reported that Brian Norman Jr. will defend his WBO welterweight title against Derek Cuevas on the Keyshawn Davis undercard November 8th. I wonder why. Boots Ennis was scared to take the fight.
Fuck you, dumbass niggas.
Said it before, I say it again. If you a fighter from the United States of America and you sign with Eddie Hearn, we already know what type of time you want. Like Shakur Stevenson, for example. The man only signed with Eddie Hearn just so he could get some easy fights to protect that zero.
I'm a killer, bro.
Shout out to this man in my comment section, Blaine92. He said, Haney, Shakur, Boots all got that look in their eyes. Protect that zero at all costs. Whatever happened to fighters fighting the best. Money will be made regardless. Greedy promoters have ruined the sport. Not just that, Mr. Blaine92. I think that ducks in the sport of boxing also ruin the sport. Like Shakur Stevenson and Jaron Boots Ennis.
Y'all some hoes.
But then again, Shakur Stevenson is the same individual who said he was finna fly his homies people to Chicago, Illinois last Sunday, and Shakur didn't do a damn thing. Shakur Stevenson, I know you watching, bro. What happened last Sunday, bro? Looks like you all internet. That is why you adopted the name Shakira Twitterson. You will forever be known as a man who nothing but a mouth, as a man who all talk.
Sunday it is!
Speaking of Shakur Stevenson, the man who's all internet, the man who never been outside a day in his life unless it was to the boxing gym. Boxing Enthusiasts put up this graph on Twitter. Boxing Enthusiasts is my favorite Twitter page because they speak facts on Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. As y'all can see, you got Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. But everybody check out the comparisons. We talking about 28 knockouts to 10 knockouts. We talking about a 93% knockout ratio to a 45% knockout ratio. We talking about 14 title fights compared to 7 title fights. We talking about 10 world champions face to 2 world champions face. We talking about 11 undefeated fighters face to 3.
If you're a killer, you're a killer. Simple.
When is the public gonna stop comparing these two? There is no comparison. Gervonta Davis at this point in 2024 is already a Hall of Famer. Shakur Stevenson will never be in the Hall of Fame in my opinion. And y'all know that Danny Garcia makes his debut at 160 pounds against Ennis deada on the Canelo Alvarez vs. Berlanga undercard. My only question is, why would Danny move up to 160 pounds when the man only had one fight at 154 against Jose Benavidez? In my personal opinion, I think that Danny Garcia lost that fight against Jose Benavidez. I think that Jose Benavidez did enough to win the fight, but Danny Garcia got the bigger name. I think that Ennis deada is gonna smoke Danny Garcia in that ring. I think that Danny Garcia's best days were at 140 pounds.
I'm a killer, bro.
I know I'm pissing off a lot of y'all Philadelphia, Pennsylvania boxing fans right now, but you gotta be real with yourself. If you from Philly, you really gotta ask yourself, what big fight at 147 has Danny Garcia ever won? Let me repeat that. Who did Danny Garcia ever beat at 147 with a big name? He lost to Sean Porter. He lost to Keith Thurman. He lost to Errol Spence. So again, who has Danny Garcia beat at 147? Nobody. That's why the man went to 154, got a sneaky, questionable win, and now the man is at 160. Hopefully, Ennis deada shows Danny Garcia everything he is and everything he never was.
Why you disrespecting mine?
And y'all know that Diego Pacheco fights on Saturday against Sulecki. I definitely gonna be tuned into that fight, but Diego Pacheco did an interview today with Fight Hub, and as y'all can see, the title says, Canelo Alvarez is gonna play with Edgar Berlanga. David Benavidez definitely earned that fight. I think that the fight with Diego Pacheco versus Edgar Berlanga would have been a great test to see where Edgar Berlanga is truly at. I think Edgar Berlanga is a very underdeveloped fighter. Canelo picked the man for a reason. Edgar Berlanga is a sacrificial lamb. But do y'all remember what Jose Benavidez said this about Edgar Berlanga and Diego Pacheco?
Berlanga's a joke, man. To be honest, who I want to fight Berlanga with is Diego Pacheco. I think that would be a great fight, He doesn't even want to fight Diego Pacheco.
I think that would have been the fight. Diego Pacheco versus Edgar Berlanga. That would have told us where Edgar Berlanga is truly at. I think that Diego Pacheco would have stopped Edgar Berlanga in less than 3 rounds. Edgar Berlanga is a very undeveloped fighter. That's why Canelo picking the man. Mark my words, Edgar Berlanga does not see 3 rounds, but that's a whole nother story. Diego Pacheco fights on Saturday. And when Diego Pacheco gets the knockout, we're gonna see why Edgar Berlanga never wanted that fight.
Berlanga's a joke, man. To be honest, Berlanga's a joke, man. To be honest.